tax at all in the city, and I would had hoped that tourism would kind of help that, but if that's not an option, I do think that over a certain age that we should
Good.
definitely.
I
Yeah.
think you'll get a unanimous vote on that.
Yeah, can you start working on that?
I can.
That would be great, thank you.
Yep.
And we'll figure out all the, I think that would be
It
great.
worries me when, on the only option I have is to vote for something for life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we vote on this bill, we have voted for it for life, we can't get out of it. And it's dependent upon this floss tax that we have to vote for, I believe, every 5 years. Is that correct, Doc?
Yeah, I think so, and I can't see us passing it.
I can't see, I don't wanna pay any more taxes, do you? So you're asking me to vote on something that's gonna be forever, and you're asking me to do that with a stipulation that this tax comes in every 5 years to supplement the city, if I'm not speaking out of turn.
No, I think you're doing great.
Supplement the city for what we're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's good business.
Well, that's
Well,
what I said.
one of my sticking points was, do I want the state to be in control of my taxes or the local level?
I agree.
And I'd much rather have local level, because you can,
I agree.
we gotta vote in that, and we don't on the state level. So,
Okay, any other discussion before we vote? Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Aye.
Okay, Angie?
aye.
Jack?
Aye.
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 Okay, so it passes unanimously. Okay, so now we're moving on. Chief, would you mind to come up to the mic in case we have any questions? We're going to discuss quotes for police car first, so we'll let you and Dr. Whaley answer any questions they have.
Speak into the microphone, Chief.
All right, I'm good.
It's gonna turn away from me.
And I think the quote package, it should be in here. Let's see.
It is in here.
It is, there we go. Okay, you want to tell us about what you're wanting here?
Well, actually, the first one's on a quote on 2 new vehicles. I got 2 quotes. There's one from Wade Ford, and then you should on your packet should be handwritten Brennan Ford. They're both the same price. The difference being is one's a 2025 with 3 extra options, and the other one being a 2024 with less 3 options. And it's for 2 vehicles. The price of vehicles is $47,900 for each unit, and that's pretty much the way I'm looking at this and speaking with some of the sales reps. That's the standard price for the Ford Explorers or the Interceptor SUVs is what we use.
So the only difference is one's a 24, one's a 25, and we're
And-
getting 2, correct, Chief?
We're getting 2 correct.
So
and-
they're both 24s or 2 25s,
Yes.
and the 25s have 3 more options than the 24s.
Yeah, the side, one of them's the stab protection in the driver's seat. And the other one is gonna be the side that's kinda stood out, the side warning, changing lane in your mirror.
I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like what's the no-brainer? The
The
25 or the 24?
2025s.
Yeah, I would definitely not buy a used, I mean,
Well, they're
you
not
know.
used, they're all.
Well, not used, but a year that's done past model, but, so I wouldn't, and if there's not any money difference and there's just a couple things difference, yeah, to me, it is a no-brainer.
Yeah, the 2025 with its options is, yeah, I'll agree with you. That's kind of what I was thinking as well.
Well, the thing about Brendan Ford is too, though, that they usually buy about 600 or 800 of those a year, don't they? So they're available right now. You can drive down and pick them up right now,
Yeah,
correct? I know in the past, we've had to wait for months to get some. So
That
are
is
both
correct.
of these available, whichever company you go with? You're
yes,
gonna be able to
yes,
go pick
they're
them up?
all, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, the only difference is gonna be those 3 options in a 2024 versus 2025, and I would just go with the 2025.
And the total for both is 95,800, or?
Yes, yeah, well, 47,900, but yes, but for 2 of them's 95.8.
Yeah.
Wade combined both of them in your first
Yeah,
packet.
okay,
It's
all right.
just a single unit.
Okay.
I move approval.
I second on the Brendan Ford quote.
Brendan Ford quote.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I just want to make sure
Yeah.
which one. So we have a motion, we have a second. Let's do a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay, so that one's good. So is the park supervisor here? Did he bring the quotes for his vehicle? He was supposed to, do you know?
What I gathered was that we had allotted him, and this I believe, we had allotted him $50,000 to build a metal building. He approached me with the fact that the metal building, he would rather be able to buy a pickup truck because he needs another vehicle rather than the metal building. So he's asking us to change that and allow him to buy a truck rather than build the metal building.
Well, this is the first that I've heard about it, but, well, I take that back. Denny did say something, but I've got a thing on vehicles, new vehicles all the time. And I've asked for a list of vehicles, how old they are, the mileage on them. So my question would be, I mean, is there one vehicle that's down that they can't crank and they can't use? What justifies that we need a new vehicle other than they just want
Well,
a
the
new
trash truck is down right now, Angie.
Okay, all right, well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So they're basically replacing something that's not usable.
We're going to repair the trash truck, but right now the trash truck's down. This is the truck that they use when we have get-togethers and things, and they empty the trash into this trash truck. This is the truck they use on a regular basis. It's this Ford Ranger that you see with the cage on it, and you see them driving around town dumping the trash.
So that's what we gotta replace, that's what they need
Pretty
replaced.
much, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So even if we change even if we do this, we can amend it on our budget, I believe, through our amendments. Do we have any quotes, though?
You're
Or do
good,
we-
Rob. You
Do
got
we
it.
just,
I should have asked him to come. He did ask me
Yeah.
if he needed to come, and I was like, I didn't think about getting the quotes or
well,
anything
Denny
like
was
that.
supposed to help him get,
Yeah.
remember they said that at the
Mhm.
meeting? Do we know if we
So
have
maybe
them?
He doesn't have them. Do you know?
Let me ask, let me ask Christie, since she's the
think we got 'em.
knowledgeable one here. If we need a metal building, do we not need the metal building that we were asked to approve and we did?
He just approached me that he would rather have the truck. He has
I
more need
understand
for
that,
the
I
truck right
understand,
now
but,
than the
you know,
metal
you gotta
building.
have breakfast and supper.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that mean that we're gonna approve a metal building next month?
No.
I just, all I wanna know is, if we needed a metal building and we approved the metal building, and we need a pickup truck, I don't understand how one eliminates the other.
Well,
In a wish list, you got a wish list, and so the pickup truck has now gone above the metal building in the wish list. But if we gotta have a metal building, you don't have to be too smart to know it's gonna come back up pretty soon.
So
I'd
he
like
did-
to know about the
He
building.
did tell us that in the department head meeting that he feels like that we can utilize all the other space we have because we have buildings that are with the road department, and then we've got the water department building, and he feels like he could utilize the space there, and that it would truly be a waste of money to build a metal building. That's what he said. Is that what I heard?
Even if
That's
we needed
correct.
to add it, we could add it next year or
Yep.
something. He wasn't wanting to take it out this year or anything like that. He said that he needed a truck more than he needed the space.
so bottom line, they wanted another building for just the park to do their stuff instead of out there on Windy, I guess, is it Windy Ridge or whatever? But they've got the space out there. So really, it's really 100% not necessary. It just might be a little more convenient for him. So right now, he's willing to, or he thinks the trade-off, you know, he'd rather have a truck than do that. And really honestly, if we've got the space somewhere else, why spend $50,000? We have a lot of other
I'm
needs.
very happy with
Yes.
that explanation. and
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you agree, Christie?
Yeah.
That's your department, okay.
But the only
That's all
problem is,
of our,
we don't have a
it's our-
quote to vote on it. So do you want to wait till next month or give them a?
Christie, are you gonna make a motion?
Well, that's what she's asking. Do we wanna vote in it now, or we wanna just table it until next month and we get our
We have a
quotes?
quote.
We don't have any quotes.
Oh, yeah,
so-
all right, if you haven't got any quotes, you can't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any quotes. So
Okay.
I make a motion, we table this till next
And then
month.
Second,
Yes,
Get up and-
yeah.
and-
He can bring us the quotes and,
Yeah, he
yeah,
can,
yeah. I think that's the best option right there.
call
so.
for the vote for tabling.
Okay, good deal. All right, so we will, make a motion to table that. Does everybody make it first? First?
Yes.
Second?
Yes.
Okay, and all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one is, F, which is a gate for Roberts Way. Angie, do you want to explain that one?
Yes, there's an area past Harvest. Well, when you go past Harvest, there's an exit. There's an exit at Harvest. When you go past that, there's no exit. So folks are having to turn around. There's a lot of pedestrians down there when the train's running. You know, they back into the light poles. It's just not really a safe thing. So we've been talking about a gate down there at this at this, right after the cut-through, that would stop folks from going through, and the only ones that could go through would be property owners, delivery drivers, and the business owners. So Denny has got a price on the gate. It's about $8,000. He's still waiting on the price for Tri-State to do something they've got to do, and then the electrician. So I believe if we approved up to about $12,000, that would do it, that we come in under that. But I think that would, up to $12,000 would be good. So, and the reason we need to go ahead and do it is because it needs to be done before the spring break, before March, really. So.
Okay.
So your motion is that we approve an expenditure of up to $10,000. We know the gate's gonna be such and such, and that would include then the electric and everything else needs to be done.
Up to 12,000,
Good.
yes, yes.
I second your motion.
Okay. Okay, that was a
Yes,
first.
yes.
That was a
Yes,
second.
second,
Okay,
yes.
let's have a roll call vote. We'll start with Bill this time. We'll
Yes.
go different. Christie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is bids for electric and lights at farmers market. So who would like to go over this one? Christie? Anybody?
I can, I was just
Okay.
giving somebody else an opportunity.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
think it was your.
Well, it was our
your thing,
idea.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So what I want to see is, we allotted in our last budget, I think a little over 100,000, 130,000, I believe,
For
the
farmers
next
market.
3 years, I believe, if I'm correct, to go into the farmer's market and to repair and make our farmer's market where it needs to be. So we've discussed it. I believe everybody's aware of it. I would like to put food trucks at the farmer's market. So I have asked Denny to get me quotes to add 5 receptacles for 5 food trucks. And what I would like to do, and I've spoken to Chuck, is I would like to do that for the citizens of the city of Blue Ridge, so that during lunch and things, they'll have a place that they can go over, park, get them something to eat. Angie and I discussed putting picnic tables up top. But in the process of all this, we found that the lights under there are not very good. So we've got 2 quotes here. We've got one for the electrical so that they can plug into it, and then one for the lighting. Now, what I wanted to do, and I've spoken to Chuck about this, and you can reiterate, Chuck, is I would like to give the food trucks a break on the electricity that they're gonna be using, and allow the citizens, the caveat of that is that they give the citizens of Blue Ridge, when they come to eat lunch, a break. They cut the price, a percentage or whatever they wanna do. So Chuck said we could set something up on paper and have each one of them sign it. So what I'm trying to do is revitalize the farmer's market and eventually the cannery as well. But I want to get this started with some food trucks, and I want to put 5 over there.
If
So
it
that's
does
what
as
I'm
much-
asking
If it does
for.
as much for that neighborhood as it did for Howell Mill at 75, where the food trucks park when the weather's good, I mean, that place is, there's a lot of places around Atlanta where food trucks congregate, and happens to be one. I haven't had anything at the one there that's at the spot, right next to, Home Depot, but I see lines there, so, and I know that, I've had plenty of hot dogs at the one that used to be over at Grumpy Old Men. I would favor that, and I think that was a good idea that somebody came up with, so I'm all for it. Now, you just made a motion that we,
Well, there's 2
We-
bids, so we're going to have to vote independently.
all right.
The
well,
bid for the electrical
Uh,
to set the food
All right,
trucks,
that's way at the
is-
back, right?
Yeah.
to run the conduit and do those things, that estimate total is $19,500.
I got it right here, I think.
So I guess, Angie, do we need to vote on these independently?
Probably, but I do have one question here.
Okay.
I mean, to me, it seems like a lot of money for lights and some outlets.
that's-
That's $32,000, but, actually, is it more than that? Oh, gosh.
It's 1910.
It's 19 plus, then there's 12, and then there's another 20.
I guess the
No,
NC.
No, you're looking at all three bids, Angie. The 20,944 is a separate bid just for the electrical from another company.
Okay, so we have two bids on one thing and only one price on another.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, that's what I was gonna say. I think we should start getting more than just one price. But anyway, maybe you couldn't, I don't know, but,
And I do agree with you
Yeah.
on that, since we're spending the
Yeah.
city's money, but the problem is finding somebody that will come out and give you a bid and
Okay.
do the work.
Yeah.
And we're having some real issues
Okay.
finding anybody to actually come out and work.
okay. So it looks like then we got one then, but the one that's 19.5, and then there's one that's 12, it's by the same company, so what's the difference on it?
We had them
But the lights-
separate, we had it
lights
break
is-
it down so that we.
Lights
we-
is one and the electric's the other. The
That's
electric is
correct.
19
The
and
first
the
one,
lights is 12.
19.5, is the electrical to hook the trailers up.
And the 12 is the lights.
For the lighting, where you and I talked about putting picnic tables, well, you wanted those lights changed, remember?
Yeah.
You didn't like the way the lights looked.
Yeah, okay.
Now, does
That's for the lights.
Blue Ridge Electric, which
Yeah.
comes out at the same price roughly for the electrical portion of it, does not include a bid for lights.
That is correct.
So basically, we got a decision between basically 32,000 versus 20,000, but the 20,000 does not include the lights.
That is correct. And if you'll read through the bid for the lights, we're talking about replacing the lights, and we're talking about 28 total fixtures.
For $12,000.
So we're gonna put 28 new lights in the farmer's market. And in my opinion, no matter what we do there, that's the start. Because we have to light it up, we have to get it where people can have their meal and see what they're doing.
I do think this will
Yeah,
revitalize that area.
Well, and it will
bear in
help,
mind,
yeah.
we've probably got 250 or 300 parking places out there as well.
Have you surveyed the purveyor market for how many food trucks might be fighting to get those 5 spots, or whether we're gonna be,
Well,
have one
food-
food truck?
Food trucks usually schedule for a year. I haven't really approached the food truck vendors much. I've got some that want to do it, but I had to make sure that we were gonna get it done before I asked them if, and then I have to see if they're willing to do the contract that we wanna set up. Are we in favor of setting up a contract to give the citizens of Blue Ridge a break?
A lot
Based
of
off the
merchants, a lot
electric.
of merchants give city residents,
Well, what we're
A
doing is
small break.
supplying electric though,
right,
Doc.
I understand. But what I'm saying is, if we give the electricity,
Then they can give a discount to
then they can give discounts, and I would,
to local
I
Okay,
would,
so that
I
mean
would.
that you have to get your ID card showing
You'll
you're from
show a
Blue Ridge to
license
do
or
it?
something to show your Blue Ridge residence.
Okay.
I done this because the downtown, sometimes you're 2.5 hours trying to get lunch.
Yeah.
And I want a
And
place
people-
where
local people won't go down there
a lot of
anyway,
people
yeah.
won't go down there. And I want to do a place, first of all, I want to vitalize the farmer's market, and the way to do that is bring commerce there.
Yeah, I'm
Secondly,
all for it. If we got some food truck people out, just wanna make sure we got one that's got hot dogs and one that's got,
Well, I've got a lady in the
Lobster-
audience out
lobster-
here that
lobster rolls.
absolutely will dig up and find every food truck, because she's been after me for a while where we are with food trucks. You can raise your hand so we know who you are. So she's
good.
willing to get in here and help us
Well,
get this done.
I will say that if we were to choose the one where we have only one bid for the lights, I think we're violating our habit.
Awesome.
It seems to me
Of
like.
getting two quotes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems to me that that's a reasonable quote, and I'm not holding out to try and find somebody else that'll put up the lights, so.
Okay.
I simply
So
say
then we can just vote on the electrical to get that part
No, I think we
started.
can vote on both of them.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm not holding this up to get another, I know there's not anybody beating down the door to do electric, because we have problems getting people to come to our building. We had to repair the gazebo. It took us 6 months to do something that should have taken 4 weeks, and I understand that the electricians aren't just falling all over themselves to do these kind of jobs. They got houses to do and stuff. So I would say that this is a reasonable use of money that will probably jumpstart our farmer's market. And everybody around here wants to jumpstart the farmer's market. And we've talked about this for 3 years. I've been on this council, and I think that this is a better idea than anything else that's come up. I mean, we haven't got people that are beating down the door to have parties in there like we did when we had whatever that was there that was so good. And You know, it was really good when they did the chalk thing, but those are few and far between. The food trucks are every day.
And this could still be in conjunction when we have the ice skating.
That's
And the
correct.
lights will actually help with all that, because it gets pretty dark there with that too. So I think the money's going really to help
If you-
overall,
Now,
don't
if you
you?
just make, would you make that a motion?
Yeah, let's make it a motion
I-
and choose which
Let me
one.
say one thing, though.
Yeah.
This is quite a bit, a light, it's $400 a fixture. So I would like for it to be a nice light, like a pretty light.
How about,
Pick 'em
how,
out.
how about I let you and Christie pick those out? Would that be okay?
Okay,
You guys,
so-
you and Christie can be charge over the lights.
Okay, that works.
You guys can be in charge over the whole process if you
Yeah.
want to, that's fine.
Well, me and Jack went down there one day and we, you know, I mean, it could be fixed up really nice. You know, it could be fixed up to a nice place, but we'll have to do it a little bit at a time, but
Let
with the
me
finished
ask
product.
this, would there be, now this is not this is not another Remagen bridge too far like in World War II, but then you gotta think about, are we gonna authorize any of them to sell beer with their hot dogs?
We discussed that the other day.
We
They have to get
did.
a
Yeah,
permit.
and they could, because, I mean,
They'd have to get the permit.
They'd
have to get a permit.
Okay, I just.
And if you're gonna go
Yeah.
with beer,
Oh, and
then
it
now
may be
you're,
too
now you're
close to
gonna
the
enlist
school.
our law enforcement.
we ran into that, and if,
I'm just
it is
asking the
not, it is,
question because
yeah,
I'm
it's good.
Confident it would come up.
I am not opposed to
Yep.
issuing a permit for them to serve beer if they want to, but again, now we're gonna have to enlist the police department to
Yeah.
make trips through
That's
there.
exactly why I asked the question, because police department's mine.
It
And
is.
I recognize that.
It is.
We've already got a problem with places that overserve.
Yeah, you would
and
just,
DUI.
there's an ordinance that says that if you're doing that, they have to, yeah, so they would have
I
to
understand, I just
work
want
with
us
us.
to recognize at this point
But
Yeah.
did,
that there may be another
Yeah.
chapter.
Does any
Yeah.
other council member have a problem with them serving beer or issuing a permit if they can pass the?
I think
I
every
mean, I'm-
permit
I'm-
has to
No,
stand,
I got a problem.
I think every permit has to stand on its own merits.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reputation of the person that gets it, just like it would if it was a bar.
Well,
And the regulations about who's selling it, because
Mm-hmm.
food trucks may have some people in there that are not old enough to sell beer. Well, I just wanted to know that we're gonna have an issue.
Angie made a face. I'm waiting to hear
well,
what
it's
Angie's
gotta
got to
be
say.
within a little roped off area
Yeah, they
too,
can't
or
bring it out.
something.
Yeah, they
But I
can't
mean-
carry it out, just like,
Yeah,
Come
and
here.
Rob will enforce that.
If you've
Yeah,
made-
Rob, the chief wants to say something about this, so,
Well, he would probably save a lot. You know, we have ordinance for restaurants and how they do their license. We'd probably have to invent another one just for food trucks
yeah.
and kind of set our ground rules of how we want to do it. It would have to be added
Yeah.
probably to that ordinance, is what I would suggest. And it would mirror probably something along those restaurant lines, the 50-50, like Angie said, the roped off area, and then, and your service versus food. You know, you're not just going down there drinking beer, you're gonna,
Yeah, the 50-50 would be
Correct.
food, 50% food,
Alcohol.
50%
Yeah.
alcohol.
and that's pretty
But a
liberal,
food truck's
I think.
only doing food, so.
they could
they're gonna-
probably combine with one of the food vendors and say, your food, alcohol, because, you know, most alcohol, like, when we've had them at the festivals, they're separate units by themselves, so,
Yeah, we'd definitely have to
Yeah.
revisit that, because I mean, I thought the
Yeah.
food trucks would have their own alcohol.
I would think
Yeah.
that would,
Yeah.
I believe that this is a beer with your Chicago
Hamburger,
hot dog.
yes,
Yeah.
And not a separate.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would keep it.
The
combined.
food
You could do
place,
that.
The
Yeah.
food truck
Yeah.
has to have
yeah.
a business license to sell food, gotta be inspected by the health department. If they're gonna sell beer, they gotta have a beer license or beer wine license or whatever it is we have around here. But I don't believe that we should encourage cocktails out of them. I think.
At
lunch
lunch?
well, you know, you ever
Well-
been to Bones for lunch?
One
True.
more thing, if
True.
Angie and Christie are gonna pick the light fixtures, I'm sure that they didn't put super nice light fixtures in there. So the $12,000 bid for the light fixtures, I think we probably should give them a little more leeway.
Well, I will tell you, since I'm building a house, that the light fixtures really are generally, you can get good light fixtures for the same price you get one that looks industrial. Let's approve what we got in front of us.
Okay,
And then if Angie comes back or Christie comes back and says, they just ugly,
Okay.
and then we'll get on to ask Jane.
Okay.
If Jane says
Hey,
they're
that
okay,
works.
we could
Okay, we
always
will
give
need
them
a
We
motion.
can always give them a little more.
absolutely.
Good.
I make a
wanna-
motion that
I
we
don't-
accept the NC2 Electrical LLC bid for $19,500 to run the conduits and do the electrical, and also the bid from NC2 Electrical to do the demo of the existing light fixtures, purchase new LED bays, 28 light fixtures for $12,000.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay,
I
let's-
just don't wanna send them out with the
Okay,
Platinum American Express card.
roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda, personnel for the police department. Chief Stewart, please, come back up. Give us your recommendations, you and Dr. Whaley.
Well, I'll say I've spent a lot of time with the chief. He's gonna tell you what we have as authorized positions that aren't filled. We had a very long discussion. As you've heard before, I was chairman of the crime commission during murdered and missing children. And I know that the officers and the chief, those people work many, many hours and were salaried. And I've been of the opinion that the highest ranking supervisory people should be salaried. And if we're gonna have a CID officer, go ahead, chief. I've just introduced that to say, we've picked this apart and I agree with what he's gonna tell you.
Yeah, yeah, tonight we've got two, a part-time, part-time, and then we have one, we're gonna be short, and he's also gonna be a full-time position. The part-time position, I work with Chuck, and if they go over some of their hours, since we do get short-handed, and it's hard just to plug and play, because you gotta have the golden certificate of being a certified officer, that if they do go over their 30 hours, something, you know, they won't hold it against us. So our part-time comes in, because we use them downtown. I know you have the walking detail downtown, so that's some more part-time. Then if we have vacations or people out sick, you know, we're limited to that. So that's vital role for part-time, and got 6 slots. We've had that for years. We've had that since Johnny was here for the part-time. And that fills that in. And then this full-time officer, do you want me to give names since we're out here, or?
Just give names and who you
One of them's
recommend.
Nolan Adams.
Okay,
He's
Nolan
from
Adams.
here.
Okay.
Pretty much Nolan, and then the other one's Claxton Townsend. He's
Okay.
from Blairsville.
Claxton?
He actually, Rusty
Okay.
sent him down here.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that Nip Adams' son?
No, Nolan is,
Nolan
yes.
is.
Nolan's Nip's.
Okay, yeah, I know Nip.
Nip's son.
Okay,
They passed, they've been vetted, seem like pretty good guys, and again, you know, like most police departments and agencies nowadays, you know, we got a bottom end turnover on that, just, we can't get over the hump, but we're gonna move forward with that, and then,
and then that should have you pretty much,
well, that would still be one full-time, we're still looking for one
Right.
full-time, but with a part-time help, that fills in a lot for that right there.
okay. Okay, is there a motion?
And this is to hire
Yep.
a
To the
part,
two?
two part-time and a full-time?
No, one part-time and one full-time.
It's my job. I recommend that we approve the plan of the police chief and the police commissioner.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, let's roll call vote. Dr. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
And again, to understand, this is for a part-time officer and a full-time officer?
Yes.
That is correct,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, Jack?
Yes.
And Christie?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chief,
There
if
you
you
go.
wouldn't mind, just a minute, Rhonda, would you introduce Mr. Schultz, Officer
Yes.
Schultz?
Officer
This is the
Schultz.
last one that we put in that we voted on last time.
He hails from Pembroke, Georgia, and South Africa, so he's traveled a long ways to come to Blue Ridge. Lucky him, right?
And he has a very cool accent, so. He
Now,
does.
Officer Schultz, will you tell us your middle name, please? Go ahead, you can. Go ahead and step up to the mic so everybody can hear it.
Menes Dieter Visa Schultz.
Nice. Okay.
Not
Very
trying to
nice.
embarrass you,
Yeah.
officer.
No,
I
it's
love,
fine, it's fine.
we love your accent.
Are you
Very awesome.
Afrikaans?
I am actually, I speak,
Yeah,
my
good.
dad was, speak the
Okay,
language.
good.
Read it and write it.
You said you were
Wonderful.
from Pembroke?
I was in the military, so I'm
So you know
from
where Fort
all
Stewart is,
over.
right?
Yeah, Fort
Yeah,
Stewart.
I was there, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that, so.
thank you, man.
Glad to
Appreciate it.
have you on board, Officer Schultz.
Okay, the next thing we added is Darvin Couch. Could you please come up from, he's from the Sheriff's Department, works with our school system, and he's going to give you a little bit of information I know quite a few years ago, and Darvin, I think it's been longer than we said, because I remember I was still a council member, and we took a picture, or maybe I had just become mayor when we put the other light up.
Yep.
And, but I'll let you explain what happened and what you're asking the council to
Is
do.
he on the 3-minute time limit?
Well, we've not even been doing it.
Okay, then we're not worried about it, okay.
Yeah.
You got your time, Darvin, go ahead,
6 minutes,
brother.
Jack, 'cause it's you.
Okay, 12, I don't care, tell me what we're buying here.
Hey, well, I appreciate y'all adding me to the list, so.
Get up a little closer to the mic, cause you gotta be out. for
He's pretty
recording.
tall, too.
Yeah.
You'll have to bend
Go ahead and
over.
hold it like a rock star, Darvin, you're fine.
There you go.
That's good.
Maybe to some of my kids, I'm a rock star, but no, not
No
here.
karaoke though.
Not here.
No here. So very good. So thank y'all for adding me tonight. So I actually talked with the mayor on Monday, and or maybe Friday. We've had so much going, I can't remember. Anyhow, so with Temple Inc., we've got new lights down at the middle school, the school flashing lights. They are up to date, up to code, where the old ones were not. So just give you a little history. The city and the school board paid half and half, basically. So we needed those. We got those. So the ones at the high school, we actually had a vehicle hit one of the poles up there next to K's, and it's knocked the bottom half and the box and stuff off. So we don't have those lights. The good thing that you guys, and thank you for working with us so graciously, we've got the signs plus the lights. So even though the lights are not working, we still have the signs, so we can still run radar and check vehicles for speed. So we've got one light on the low end of the main entrance at the school. It flashes sometimes at the correct times. I get calls in the middle of the night or a text message say, hey, your light down here on the low end of the school is flashing at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So those are controlled manually. So anytime I have to do a reset, or like for tomorrow we have a virtual day, I would have to come in at 7 o'clock or before, and I have to manually go to those boxes and set those to readjust those times. With the lights that we got last time, I just pop open my computer and I go in there and click, 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 boom, I'm done, and they're already reset for, it's kind of like the state lights, basically. You can go in from the computer, reset them, turn them off, whatever you need to do. It's very convenient, and it's very helpful. So the lights there, they are the total, and we were very fortunate that we got this total. So as the mayor was saying, it may have been longer than a year and a half that
been a
it
while.
was. So what happened when I was talking to my rep down at Temple Inc., something happened. He left the business. He did not submit the order prior to him leaving, as everybody had agreed on. So I didn't have a clue. I knew that some of the parts were going to take a little bit longer, and because supply and demand. I knew that. He told me that up front. So I didn't really worry about it, and then I got to thinking, we've been some time here. We've got some days here. We need to check on this. So I made a call. Of course, couldn't get him. So I sent an email, and it got kicked back. So I reached out to Temple in general. So I got hold of Casey. So I talked, so Casey's our new rep here. So I was talking to Casey, and he said, Darvin, he said, there's nothing here. We can't even find hard copies of that quote. Definitely can't find nothing on the computer. And I said, okay, can you just re-quote me? So he did. So they went back to the price back then where they'd sold some other ones, and they give us the same price, which we're very fortunate. So the total price that he quoted was $11,272. So the school has agreed to pay half of that. So half of that is $5,636. So I'm coming with you guys to ask if y'all would be willing to pay the $5,636, the other half to Temple for the lights. Can I throw something in to be very nice to you guys? Me and my guy that works with me at the high school, we run a lot of radar down there, and we write a lot of tickets that come here to your court, and I appreciate that. And I love the court here. It's very simple. But I'm going to tell you, those lights mean a lot. We had a child hit in the crosswalk that you guys put up, and it wasn't because of crosswalk. It was because the guy was not paying no attention. So we run a lot of radar there. We write a lot of tickets. Y'all probably see them. I know Barbie does. We talk quite a bit. But literally hit a student, and it knocked him probably about 6 feet from the bumper. So we patrol that, we watch that, and we hit that hard on tickets. And I'll tell you, the average speed through there, and this is with the lights working, is from 38 to 44 is the average speed. And we scratch them. I'll just tell you, we ride them because safety of our students is number one. And I have several kids that walk through there, that crosswalk in the mornings. We run it in the mornings. I have several kids in the evening. Actually, I've got more kids. I've got about 3 times of the kids that cross there in the evenings versus in the mornings. So we definitely hit it several times in the mornings. So I would greatly appreciate it. I appreciate y'all doing what y'all have already done, but I would appreciate if you guys would be willing to split the bill with us.
Could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Flashing lights that are on 515, say 45 miles an hour, clearly are labeled during school hours.
Yes, sir.
And when people come up here, you know, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday and go by that 10-mile-an-hour sign, I mean, in their head, they're thinking, ain't no school. Is there signage that needs to be fixed or?
No, sir. We've got all our proper signage per request, or I guess recommendations is GDOT. I actually had my GDOT contact come up here. He just now retired in, fixing to retire in March. So we worked together very well. He actually came up his last day working, and I said, please look and see if there's anything that we're missing on these school zones. And we've got the distance. We've measured all our distance. So everything is, the only thing we're missing is the
Good, okay,
lights.
got
Yeah,
it.
everything.
That's all I wanna know.
Yeah, I stay on that quite a bit. I just feel like that's my baby, if you'll have it that way. But I want to make sure that's right and our kids are safe coming through there and whatnot.
Okay.
I
so-
run radar
so-
too, Doc.
so-
And I run radar too, and I work a lot of school zones. And I'll just give you an example. Probably 2 months ago, I clocked 181 in a 45 school zone. Sometimes it's like those lights don't even exist. And I know what Darvin does because Darvin pulled me over.
You're welcome.
So I know what Darvin does. Yeah, Darvin pulled me over too. So anyway, I don't think 5,000, I don't think any child we have.
Oh, no, I'm not trying, I just
mean-
wanna know, this is a separate question from the $5,000. This
Yeah.
is just a question about,
I'm not disagreeing. I think it's a priority to make sure that the kids are safe.
I agree with that.
Okay, and so safety is of course our concern, but I did like what you said about the tickets. So basically, those tickets can offset the price, kinda, right?
Yeah, yeah, we write them, I'm gonna tell you.
Angie didn't really say that.
Getting you to write more tickets.
Angie did not, let me go on record, Angie
No,
did not say
I'm just
that.
trying to understand what he's saying here.
I don't understand. We just need to
Angie
see.
said safety of the children was what was
She
imperative.
said that's very
Safety is
important.
best, yes,
need-
but,
So
you just keep
you know,
on.
it does
I
sound
would-
like it's a trade-off here.
I would point out, this is not a
price.
traffic camera at the sign.
No.
Like there is all over Atlanta,
Right.
and that there's a bill been introduced yesterday in the legislature to make that illegal,
Right.
because it was put up to make money for communities.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that
correct.
when they see that 10-mile-an-hour sign, and there's not any, 10 mile an hour is what the sign says, right?
20 mile. Mhm.
Whatever it says. Because it's, you know, it says 30 before it and 30 after it, and it's Saturday afternoon, and then they don't think 20
Yeah.
miles an
Well,
hour ahead.
It is crazy down there, it is, and, you know, the kids park across the street many times, and it's a mess.
It is, yeah.
It is.
And
So-
I just want to make sure they're crossing safely. And here's
Yeah.
the thing too, we don't hide. I sit right in the middle of the road,
Yeah.
running right, and you know, Shook, he'll sit either above me or below me, and then I'll call him out. But we don't even hide. What we want safety, and we want our, you know, the vehicles to slow down. You know, but when you're getting from, and I won't say majority, but several, when you're getting from 50 and above, I stopped a lady the other day, I say the other day, it's probably been several months now, it's
Yeah.
56.
Yeah.
Wow,
And I said, "Do you not see me sitting there in the middle of the road?" She says, "Yeah, but I gotta get to DMV." I
okay.
said, "Okay, well, you're gonna be late."
Here's your ticket.
How long did it take you to
Ah.
scratch that ticket out?
A little longer than normal.
That's funny. So you'll handle this, you'll make sure it gets processed this time?
Yes,
So-
I
Okay,
will.
perfect, yeah, that
Yes.
sounds good.
Because the other thing I done, I had actually got Casey to come up here because
Mm-hmm.
he had not been up here. So he drove up from Woodstock, that's where he lives, before he went to the office. And me and him went and looked at the middle school one as well and just make sure nothing has changed.
Good.
And then we looked at this one and he said, "Here's what you need. I just need the go."
Okay, I guess we just need a motion and a second and then vote on it, so
I'll
thank
make the
you.
motion
Okay.
that we approve whatever the cost ends up being, up to $6,000.
Okay, yeah, it was 56 something,
Well,
so, yep.
I said up to 6.
Okay.
so
And
Is
I'll
there a
second.
second?
I'll
Okay,
second.
let's have a roll call vote. Dr. Whaley, Angie,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
and Bill.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks. Okay, the next thing is discussion items, and we have George Kelly. He you're still employed by the city, aren't you? On a contract basis. And he's going to give us some discussion. I believe this project started when we all first came on board several years ago. It's been 3 years now. And Eric, when you guys hired him, he started working on this, and then George became the point of contact. It was kind of, I remember you guys wanted him to start looking for different types of avenues to get funding. And this is one project, I really wasn't aware of it until Eric left, and then I started getting notifications. And you did, and then I got copied. So,
Right.
so you can enlighten us all about this project, and then we'll go from there.
All right, Mayor, Council, I don't know how much you may know about this project or may want to know even. I guess the thing that's been brought before you is there's this cost that they want to be paid quickly or as soon as possible. And I'm going to try to get that out there to you as quickly as I can so you'll know what the job is tonight. But this project started back when Eric Soroka was here. Eric was always looking for ways to try to improve things in the city. And this, I believe, came up through that, that sort of search. It's a GDOT project. So anybody that knows GDOT knows it's a monster organization. So a project coming through GDOT is going to have, a lot more overhead and a lot more stuff to it than a project that's started and developed locally, we'll say. This project, we handled projects similar to this in the city when I was here, at a different cost, I'm sure. So this is not something that can't be done by the city locally. It's just that in this great state of Georgia, every department has these programs where they try to help municipalities through grants and so forth, and this is one of them. It's a transportation alternatives program, which if you have alternatives like pedestrian bridges, trailways, bike paths, things like that, you can finance, design, and build these things through GDOT. And for some municipalities, and I'd say similar to Blue Ridge, it's probably not always the best alternative, but it is an alternative if you're looking for alternatives. So this project is basically what they called, the project manager and the team, the 3 sidewalks, because there's 3 separate maps that show sidewalks on 3 different areas in the city that they were going to plan, design, and build. So that's done in GDOT through through their project management process. And their project management process goes from task order 1 to task order 2 to task order 3 until they complete the project. So this is task order 1 for this project. It involves 3 different sites, probably, I guess, 2,000 feet of sidewalk, and then some street crossing devices down in the main part of the city there. So it's not a lot of work, but task order 1, the total cost for it is $564,419.09. So that sounds like a lot, of which 20% of is the responsibility of the city. So the city's portion of that would be 20%, which is $112,883.82. Now, to complete this project, this is only for task order 1. And to complete the project, it would take 3 task orders, I think. This one, and then a execution task order, and then some sort of a completion task order. And each one, the second one would probably be, in my estimation, it would be as much as this one. So that's going to double the price of it there. And then maybe the last one would be half that much again. So 2.5 times this amount is what the city would ultimately pay to do it. But this is a 5-year project. This is planned to occur over a 5-year period. So you're not gonna see this project until, you know, what, 29, something like that, 30. So it's gonna be out there before you would see it. And like I said before, that program is not the best program for every municipality. And this may be a case where it's not the best application of the program, but it is an alternative. I mean, if you're looking for alternatives in ways of finding, you know, resources and recreation and things for your city, this is one of them. So that's basically where this thing is at in a nutshell. The GDOT needs a decision from the city as soon as they can produce it on whether or not they want to go ahead with this task order. And that's just based on the fact that you're going to continue it in the years to come. You're going to go ahead with task order 2 and then with task order 3.
Okay, so I have a question. Who decided on these locations, and can they be changed?
I think they were decided on, and I don't know for a fact. I think whenever we were planning for repaving the roads in Blue Ridge, these sidewalk projects kind of came up as an auxiliary or an alternative, because we found that some of the sidewalks were not what they should be, you know, where we were going to pave roads. So I think maybe Eric sat down with someone, Joe Patterson maybe, you know, in recreation, and they came up with leg number 1 of the project, which goes from Summit Street at the farmer's market down to Main Street, up Main Street to Hall Street, which is where we stopped on the sidewalks that the city did. So it was going to tie these pieces together. And then the second part is McKinney Street, which goes from Old 76 down through the city up to West First Street. So it kind of ties in that road, which has been paved by the city, with new sidewalks. And then downtown next to, on Depot and Church Street, the crossing mechanisms there at the crosswalk don't work half the time. So the plan was to replace those with a new system of crosswalks and crosswalk control devices. So
Let
I
me
think
ask
they
this
just sort of
question.
became a part of the plan.
You
It's showing
mentioned
Depot
that
to
a
Main,
significant number, that there was sidewalk done by the city that these are gonna hook to. With that historical number in your head, we couldn't do this project for the $112,000, 20% internally, could we?
No,
Okay. Now, if we were gonna do it all by ourselves, would it cost half that much, or would it cost that much?
this project, I think, it's hard for me to say at this point. I mean, I have historical information on what the city paid to get sidewalks done, you know, prior to this and in our previous sidewalk project, but I don't really recall what the costs were. It's,
Do you know,
But the 112's not just it, though, so, and the thing is we don't really know what the other unless you've got a price, unless the states give us a price on the other 2 tasks, possibly 4, it wouldn't really make sense to vote on something that we don't know how much it's gonna be, really.
yeah, I think if you do vote on this, you're gonna have to vote on it knowing that at some point in the future, 2 years, 3 years, whenever you
more money.
can, you're gonna have to vote again for
Yeah.
task order number 2.
And
now
the
I
other-
have seen a total somewhere. It came through a while back and I sent that on to Denny. That was that was the end of last year.
You remember what it was?
Don't
don't
quote me
remember.
on this paper, but I want to say at least 2 million or the totals, because I know we were going to be over 200,000, possibly 3 for our part. But like I said, I handed that over to Denny, and there's documentation somewhere
Okay.
about what it is, but, and that may, if you guys want to take a chance and look at it, or, My question, down here in front of the school near Boardtown Road, White Path, FabTech, all that, where the county, owns that, is that going to be a crosswalk right there? Because that needs it right
I
there.
think there is I mean, let me
Yeah.
look on the map.
Do you see
There-
that down there, guys?
There's three.
On page 1?
I have another question in that general area. We've got sidewalk from Hall Street past Grumpy Old Men's. Why are we replacing that sidewalk?
Well, I don't think we would. I think we
But
would
it's
stop
marked in
them.
red, George. I mean,
They
Yeah, it
just-
probably shows it here because that's what we talked about to begin with. This has been in the process for months.
So
Right.
we put the new sidewalks in, I
We-
think
we
after
did.
Yeah,
this was
we did.
finished. So this task force all this would need to be a revised
Right.
project.
Right.
If
And-
you
and-
guys want to move
and
you
that's
forward.
understand what
basically
I'm
what-
saying? We've got sidewalks from Hall Street now all the way up
Where the old Gene Walker's building.
to where the old Gin Walker's building is. We've already got sidewalks there.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this is just not even areas there's a lot of traffic, and it's $250,000 to we don't know what. And we've got a lot of other things
So we
to
did have
do.
a request several years ago for sidewalks, going in front of the school, like around industrial, like in front of the old, going out that way in front of the school, going back towards Mineral Springs,
Oh, yeah.
like out to our area. They said, why don't we have sidewalks there
Where the
What would
yeah.
that be for, though?
for residents to get into town? So, like
Coming
coming
up
up to the,
Well-
Springs area where like the
Yeah.
affordable housing.
Well, what I would like to
Yeah.
see,
Well,
was
that would be
actually-
a better location than to me this, but.
yeah.
what I would
This
like to
just
see
makes
is
no
a
sense.
revised version of this, because I've already pointed out, we've got, 1,000 yards of sidewalk right there that's already in, and it's on this. So I wanna see, two things I would like to see is I would like to see a revised version of this, George, and I would like to know what the city's gonna be paying for this before we ever think about voting on it.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I'm sorry I can't give
Angie
you
said,
that
Angie
tonight.
said it.
Yeah.
I mean, that, we don't know what we're voting on here.
Yeah,
We can't
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And then that, when I look at this and I see that we've got 1,000 feet of sidewalk, are we double paying for that? What are we gonna do with that sidewalk?
Right, well-
It needs to be taken out.
I mean, in the first place, if it's managed by the city's not gonna let sidewalk be torn out that was put in last year and
Right.
replaced.
Right.
So we wouldn't
So
do
that needs to be addressed
It needs
in
to be
this quote,
revised,
yes.
right.
And
But,
maybe look at new areas like I was talking about,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, areas that,
add.
that'd be more beneficial
Yeah.
to the
I
citizens.
think to
If we're
get
gonna
it
spend that much
revised,
money.
you're gonna have to approve this project, put it in design, and they'll revise it in design.
That ain't gonna happen.
See, I mean,
We're not gonna
that's what
approve a
makes this
project
not
blind.
such a
That's-
good
I'm not.
program.
And I don't think any of the other council's
Mm-hmm.
gonna approve something blind.
Yeah, this is probably not the best program for this type of project.
Okay.
Is there an
Yeah.
end date for this grant?
Any what?
The end date?
Uh,
We've got to have it signed, sealed, and delivered?
No, the only end date that they've given us is by the first week in May. I think it's by the 6th of May, this decision about go or no-go has to be made, or they'll
Okay.
add another 3 months to the.
So you don't think
project.
they'll you don't think they'll redesign this and talk to us about where we would like to see some sidewalks before, we have to vote on it to get them to redesign it?
Well, maybe, they might go back and say, oh, okay, our red line's going too far, well, let's just shorten the red line. But you wouldn't have anything more than that, and I could probably do that for you.
Angie, would you want to get with them maybe and Denny and look over
Yeah, yeah,
this?
that-
And
that'd
maybe
be
you
good.
could ask her to come up here, the lady who's over this project, and then you could represent it to us?
Yeah, yeah,
Do
that'd
you,
be
do
good.
you wanna table it, Angie, or do you wanna vote on it?
I say table.
Well, for me, I think there's much more things that's coming up. We don't really know where our budgets, where our finances is. I feel like to commit to $250,000 right now is not really the right time, so I probably would not support this. It don't matter where it's at. But yes, I can do that for y'all, if y'all wanna
Is
know.
that-
Then I make a motion that
guys-
we table this until Angie gets back with us after she's talked to them to see if we can get a revision.
Okay.
That's my motion.
Okay, is there-
I'll second it,
second?
make the
Okay.
suggestion, maybe you should talk to the board member that we have that's up here and loves Blue Ridge and lives in Blue Ridge.
Good
The
idea.
deal, we got
Our GDOT board member?
we got an inside track to GDOT.
Okay, if all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next on
All right,
the
thank you.
agenda, thank you, George. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, George.
Cause I got an inside track.
The next thing is
Yeah.
public comments. would anyone like to speak? And you will have 3 minutes, please. And Brenda, do you mind to time that? Mary Ann? Where is the timer? I don't even see it. Can you use your phone, Brenda? Oh, you got it up there? Okay. Hey, and before Troy starts, I'd like to say congratulations on a successful Fire and Ice, even though it rained.
Yep, that's what
It
I'm
looked
coming up to
pretty
say.
good. Okay, good.
Hi, guys. My name is Troy Sherburne. I'm co-president of the Blue Ridge Business Association. I just wanted to thank you guys and just kind of give you an update of this past weekend, which was our 14th annual Fire and Ice. And a big shout out to thank you for the city, and then also for Denny and his crew of getting everything set up, and a big help. Real smooth, even with all the rain. The rain started coming about 6 o'clock in the morning. Denny was out there with the crew getting electrical down, and people were setting up, and we're all kind of worried. But right about 12, it went away, and we had a good time. It looks like we had probably just under about 3,000 people, which was great compared to, what we weren't sure was going to happen. But just wanted the great feedback from both had locals and visitors that come in, so it was a nice mix of everybody, and everyone had a really good time. Just wanted to give an update and say thank you, guys.
Well, thank you.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
See, not
Okay,
even
good.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next. Would anyone else like to speak? Well, it's good to see out in the audience. I actually see several city residents. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good to have you guys here, especially you first timers. So, okay. Anything else? Anybody? Do we need to go into executive session? Anyone? Okay.
Do we need to discuss with, talking about with Dub, Dub Dewar?
Do we need to
Do
discuss
we
the
need to
meeting we
discuss
had
that?
today?
No, do we need to discuss in executive session about that, employee thing?
We can if you'd like to.
Well, I think it'd be an opportunity for you to let everybody know, and then everybody can decide kind of what they want to do or how
Yeah,
we want to
sure.
go.
Okay,
I
so
make
do we have a
motion.
motion to go into executive?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay,